All right. Happy Wednesday evening, folks, at least in New York City time. And welcome to the show. If you don't know me, my name is Mike Asherbrenner, professionally known as the Redneck Connector and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And wow, uh, you know, we're very much a vetting community here. We we really want to make sure that when we promote something, somebody, something they're doing, that it's going to be what they said it was going to be, right? And there's too many scams and schemes, and sometimes it's really complicated to know what to support, what not to support, and really just connect with people that you can relate to, right? All the challenges aside. So today, appreciate you all tuning in because we're going to talk about the power of purpose and really turning trauma into transformation. And I know that's kind of buzzword and played out, but this is the substance of it all. This is somebody that you can relate to at some level. All right. So people and leaders speak from theory, and Agape speaks from survival. All right. 35 years of navigating domestic violence, including a lot of things I'm not going to spoil and let her talk about. But the important part here is, and the thing that I want to celebrate and spread out there to you guys, her fight for survival, was the force for change, right? So it wasn't just wallowing in it; it was for something. And today, she uses that to help others. Confronting domestic violence or confronting DV is the nonprofit that she founded, dedicated into turning pain into purpose. All right, and they're creating real solutions in today's climate. So let's get this show on the road. Let's start the intro, and then we'll bring her up. All right. Oh, and before you do, if you missed this last week, now dadgummit, I turned that down. I'm getting old. Y'all see that Gargamel move? All right. Especially when there's hounds telling me, "Hi, y'all supposed to come to the show. It's 7 o'clock." All right. So there you go. So here's the funny one. I don't want to put the little one on blast, but my oldest daughter's friend, he didn't know there's a remote control. This little one right here, right? So she's too smart. He tries to get on this thing, and she's controlling the remote control, and he thinks he don't know what to think. He's just freaking out, and she's slamming it into the swing set. And I was just cracking up. So I don't know. Maybe we can release the video. It's hilarious. It'll go viral. But here's the point. Thank you all for the encouragement to get out there and have a harmonious life. At least attempt that, because it can be very, very hard to build a business, build a movement, push that out. And we also have to take care of other things that matter. All right. So there was my PBS special Danny Tanner moment. But I want to make sure that folks take time. All right. Tomorrow can wait sometimes. Right. And so let's run the intro video and let's get to it, folks. Appreciate you. Well, I promise I had the video ready. All right, let's do this.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbrenner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right, folks, let's bring her up. Agape Garcia, founder of Confronting DV. Let's do it. Here's my soundboard. Yay! Yay! The crowd's going wild. How are you today, my friend?
I am good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. You know, just recap, how we met. All right. So, correct me if I'm wrong, because you have a way better memory. Um, and then everybody introduces everybody, and it's like spaghetti, right? It's just you can't even figure it out if you're me. But I think it was Tanya Eberhardt. Is that correct?
That is correct.
There you go. I think if anybody saw me for a second, they know. Love Tanya. Love what she does, how she does it, all integrity. We're not perfect, but she always puts people's best interests first. So you went to her group call,
I
and
did. hmm
and then what happened? Go ahead.
Well, and then I followed up with her, just, admiring what she does and how she does it, and, how eloquent she is in her presentation. And I just asked, how I, as a nonprofit, could be a part of what she's doing. And she said, you know what? Let me send you over to Hounds of Business. And that has been all she wrote. That
Oh,
was it.
I remember it like it was yesterday because I was like, I don't know what to do. I want to support. I want to help. And in true Hounds fashion, what did I do? I connected you with other folks. It was CJ, and and then you had the gala last year, and and not to betray confidence, but it was special because I deal with a lot of stuff. Anybody who does something and builds a business and help, and wants to make an impact, we deal with it, right? We don't whine about it, but it happens. And I remember you left a very it really inspired me. The text that you sent, right? You were very grateful and you were very open, and I just want to say that because I'm gonna get corny today, all right? But there's something there because you never know what kind of impact you have on folks. Something that you do for somebody may seem like nothing to you, but you never know where people are and what they're going through. And then you had the courage to speak out and say, "Hey, thank you," essentially, and share how you felt about it. And I'll never forget it because it did. It kept me going, got me more excited to help people and do more, right? So that's what we're all about, right, folks? So go out there. If folks don't get your message. If they're not encouraging you, don't give up on it. Just keep going because someone will see it. Tanya saw it in me, and I saw it in you, Agape. And
Well, thank you. And I just want to share, like, because I think that you're staying high level, and I would like to give a little more detail in that, because when I shared with you who I was, who sent me to you, and what I was looking for, like my absolute like 911 needs, you said, okay, and you connected me with CJ, and we met in person in like a matter of 3 or 4 days. Okay. And from there, I was a part of her anthology book. I met other people through her. Same thing. She met folks through me. She was able to connect with other people as well. And it really is that spaghetti noodle that you talked about, because today, I mean, I'm saying today, but let's talk about that. We met last year, like right around this time, because the gala was in a month from like right now, right?
it
So
was.
it was, oh my gosh, talk about running around like a chicken without a head. That's exactly what I was. And it just really, I really felt supported. And I really, yes, to your point, I was very grateful. I still am. And here I am today, a year later, and I'm sending folks to you as I'm meeting different individuals and networking through the nonprofit. So it's like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Go to Mike.
Which isn't bright. And thank you for telling the story, fully and eloquently. It's not my forte. But I want people to know that I didn't get all of these opportunities, meet amazing people, and then you reciprocate, and you are the one that introduced me to Beverly Neal Clinton, Healing for Wounds, right? And then Dr.
Dr.
Eugene
J.
Manley.
Oh, sorry.
So Dr. Eugene Manley comes in, and he goes and they start collaborating. I'm like, so remember, I sent a lot of DMs. I did a lot of stuff. I didn't know any better, and that did the opposite, right? People didn't understand it, and it wasn't about them first, right? Because Boz Porter said this best. He said, "There's no such thing as spam if it's valuable." That makes a lot of sense, right? And
Yes.
what's valuable to you may not be to someone. If I send out a whole bunch of flyers to a steakhouse grand opening to a bunch of vegans, well, that was a lot of wasted money for all of us, right? And time. So I just wanted to start that and say, listen, go out there and find your tribe, find good people. I don't care if you have to go through hundred or thousands or thousands. Keep getting better, show up, work hard, never quit. So let's go into you because I'm talking with authority, but dang gummit, you have really, so you have lived a life, through a lot of things that a lot of folks just can only imagine, right? So from surviving a double attempted homicide, right, being pregnant, to building a national nonprofit. What was that moment? And take liberty here, but what was that moment that you decided that just going through it had to stand and mean something more, right? What was that like? Okay, I went through it, but now I want to help others.
Whew, okay, it's gonna be a little heavy, so it might be a little trigger warning here,
That's
but
okay.
I'm gonna keep it real because that's who I am. So I will be very transparent and honest that for 20 years I lived under a rock as outgoing that you see me, as loud as my voice can get, as very upfront and personal that I can be, I had to hide all that. I had to mask all that. And I say had to, I'll say that it was my choice to, because I felt that I had to, in order to, number one, stay focused at the workplace. Number two, for my own safety and protection of my children, and to maintain that, sole provider for my kids. My whole thing was focused around making sure that their childhood was as normal as humanly possible, regardless of what we had endured. And, it was my choice to not network, to keep my emotions protected by not trusting anyone. And yes, extreme independence is a part of the residual effects of devastation as such, and it was also a bit self-sabotaging. And I'll say that because here I am today, 20 years later, and we have so many conversations, you and I, about, oh my gosh, I didn't build a network, I stayed off social media, I don't have friends, how do I get myself visible, what do I do, people don't know who I am, but I have so much to offer and to give and to share. And that's just a part of that long-term ripple effect. So navigating through so much of the privacy and the protection and different programs and the rights that are out there for survivors, it wasn't until a few years ago, when I was in a major vehicle accident, and resulting in me only having a 1% chance of surviving. I literally, had 23 staples in my head, and then I was broken, sprained, or damaged literally all the way down to my feet. And I had only 1% chance of surviving. And while I was in ICU, I kept petitioning my creator, you keep sparing my life. What's going on? What is my purpose? What the heck am I supposed to be doing? And I petitioned until I got the answer. And from ICU is where confronting domestic violence was born, because the answer was share your story and help other people. And I learned about, post-traumatic growth, what that is, how to take that journey. I didn't even realize I was going through the journey for quite some time already until I learned more about what, PTG is. And from the moment I got out of the hospital, I literally started networking with, SBA and different individuals that I knew, had nonprofit experience. And I just started asking questions, and I started doing podcasts, and I started meeting different people. And from there is how confronting domestic violence was born and established.
Thank you for sharing that. And also, folks, I'll put it on the screen. LinkedIn is glitching a little bit, so I can see it if I go to LinkedIn, but I can't pull it up on StreamYard. So please do. We got questions if you want to make comments and support. I'll do my best. All right. But thank you for joining us. Appreciate you all being here. And you're right. Like, you got those 1800s genes or something. Like, you just been through over and over. Like, you just survived. Like, wow. Worst case scenario, there'll be you and about 10 others. Like you. But what's impressive is that through all of that, that's a lot of stuff. And you're not the only one. But very few, you know, relatively very few can go through it again. And so what's remarkable is that a lot of people, once they get through something like that kind of trauma and healing, and that the last thing they want to do is relive it every day, right? And that's essentially what's happening, because you do now, you're helping daily, right? Personally, as well as your organization, people calling in, right, going through the same thing. And to me, that is extremely, that says a lot. That says more than words, because most of us want to avoid that. We don't want to relive it every day. So, kudos to you, because wow, right? And I want people to know that, because yeah, it's extreme. Well, my life's not that extreme. It's still pain, it's still problems, and it's still going to take the same kind of thing to go through, right? So, um, and correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, right? Um, but you said, I believe you said this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can move a million times, but you live in your head, right? So you can
That's right.
physically move, but you're still here. You can't move from here, right? So, what does that mean for survivors or for anyone carrying heavy experiences around baggage?
Whew, yes, devastation happens to all of us, regardless of, under what umbrella, it falls under, right? Devastation is devastation. Domestic violence, loss of a parent, of a child, of a loved one. I mean, there's so many things that we are devastated by, right? And if you can identify what is taking up that space in your head. Is it positive? Is it negative? Right? So, for most people, when that devastation takes place, our emotions take over. We want to be in control, we want to be logical, but it's like we can't. There's no control, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it's fresh. And when you get to that place where you realize, oh my gosh, this is like taking over me. I can't focus on other things because I am so consumed by this. That's where you do that sanity check, like, okay, is this a negative inner voice that's happening here? Am I shaming myself? Am I feeling, like crap because I wasn't smarter or stronger or didn't know better? Do I feel stupid? We don't, these are the processes, right? This is like the stages that we go through. And once you're able to identify, like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on, then it's time to like figure out how to intercept that inner critic that's talking to you in a way that you wouldn't even allow somebody else to talk to you, right? Because that's tearing down your self-esteem, your confidence. It's making you question who you are. Those All of those things are completely normal. It's pulling yourself out of it once you recognize that that's where you're in. And for me personally, the way that I have taught myself and learned along my journey and doing that is, again, acknowledging and then looking at your options. Okay, how can I replace this? How can I reframe this? Opposed to saying, like, man, I am so stupid. You can say, wow, I was really fooled. I am so happy I know better right now, because even if I don't know who I am today, I sure as hell know who I am not right now. And when you identify who you're not, your boundaries start there, and you start making sure that those boundaries are not overstepped, right? And that's that's the beginning. I've done a lot of mirror work. Mirror neurons is a real thing. I will go into the mirror and yell at myself and talk to myself as if I am like scolding my best friend. Snap out of it. What the heck is wrong with you? Why are you thinking like that? You know better.
Right.
It's real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It sounds silly. I know it sounds so silly, but it really is real. And once you can do that on a daily basis, you start creating this habit that turns into a conditioned behavior. And within, I would say, 35 to 45 days of that consistent behavior or thought process, you will start replacing that negativity with that positivity and start having a different outlook on yourself, on the people around you, and the life that you're living. Not everybody is here to attack you. Not everybody is what that devastation stemmed from.
Well said. And I've done a lot of that. I've done a whole lot and still do it. I don't think there's an arrival, right? You it's like a video game to me, right? Most people never jump into level one healing, right? But then when you do, and you're like, I got this figured out. Guess what? Yeah, level two healing, right? And each time you play a video game, the boss gets harder, and that's how I see this. And we talk about this because stop. Here's what I learned, Agape, and I want your feedback or your input. I've realized we all got issues, baggage, self doubt, different variants, right? Some are farther along than others, but in reality, there's two types of folks: folks who aren't ready to face it and do something about it, and folks who are. That's it. I was that guy for 40 years, and all of a sudden, I was sick and tired of living this way, being this way, right? And you're talking about doing the inner journey and the healing. Oh, it's scary. Oh my gosh, it's scary. You feel isolated. You think of the things you lose and what's going to happen. And but it's not as scary as you feel. Like yes, I'm not minimizing the pain, the impact, but whatever I thought was going to happen if I went here, oh, it was a million times better at the end of it.
That's right.
Because because I really don't. I mean, sometimes I do, but I used to be a big doormat. I'll let people walk all over me, but I had to do the inner work of figuring out, wow, where was that coming from? Childhood, right? Programming, upbringing. Uh, and then I just decided that around my 40s that I'm done. I'm just done with it. I don't subscribe to this. This isn't a law. This is just something everybody told me to be, and I don't want to be that. And now we got a community full of people like us, so we're not alone, right? And I want that. That's is that not one of the core messages that you and your organization stand for? You're not alone. You have to do the hard work. Nobody can do it for you. But you're not broken, defective, and too late, too old, too stupid, too anything, too broken. You absolutely have value. In fact, I would argue that your story and your challenges is exactly why you're valuable, because you can keep people from going through 10 more years of that because they're going to relate to you. They're not going to relate to the therapist yet. They're not even going to go to the therapist. But because of you, they go, you know what? Maybe I will now. Is that what you see, or am I just full?
Well, and thank you for bringing that up, because I do speak to survivors on a daily basis, and I can tell you that the moment I tell them, listen, you're speaking to the founder of Confronting Domestic Violence, and my I don't share my story like I did with you, but I let them know, hey, I experienced a double attempted homicide. I can relate and understand what you must be feeling and going through. And the moment that the individual feels heard and trusted and believed, that it is an immediate breaking the ice, and they open up and share so much. And while I'm listening and they're explaining, and I'm asking questions, of course, because my whole thing is providing real-time resources based on real-time needs, and I give them those resources and I let them know, listen, it is, you're strong. You're calling me because you're strong and you're looking for avenues to change your situation. And I don't just give numbers and give resources and say, okay, thanks for calling. I follow up. I keep my fingers on the pulse. It may be a couple days, a few days, a week, a month. Hey, we spoke on, whenever. Where are you today? How far have you gotten? What is the current circumstances? What are your current needs? Because as circumstances change, so do needs. And I can tell you that, people can call me crying hysterically in the beginning. And by the end of our conversation, they are starting to make sense of the situation with direction. And I have seen people find new meaning and be able to coexist with the stress, the distress that they're in as they go along, because they are feeling like they are not alone on that journey.
You daggum straight. You can't get help, direction, none of it if you don't open your mouth, if you don't share it. So to me, it wasn't should I share it. It eventually became who do I share it with. Don't you don't have to go out there and just share that. You shouldn't go out there and just tell everybody. I don't think so. But that's why you exist. It's a safe place that people understand. They can help guide you, right? Because you don't know what to do. I mean, it's the same thing in business. Hey, I want to start a business. Man, I might as well say I'm just going to make a car. I never, okay, let's do it. So I needed guidance and direction. And I think that was a great point that you made there, was that that's what it's about. Once you open up and you're like, you think, oh no, I'm so bad that I'm going to ask for help. When actually, it's the first step to the rest of your life, right? The new life that you could have. And, again, not to spill the beans, but I had an up close and personal. I've seen this in play. I've seen DV. All right, and so that's why it's important to me, because I couldn't do anything when I was a child, but I can now. And spreading this message and word is part of the way I give back to that. Um, so, do you still have a stigma? Because again, real quick, PTSD. Most folks know about that, right? And but you choose to focus on PTG, right? I never heard that, right? Post traumatic growth. Can you explain what that really means in everyday life? What's the difference?
Absolutely. In everyday life, it is where you're starting to make sense of the trauma and find new meaning. Like I was saying before, it's not so much bouncing back or being resilient. These are buzzwords. It's more about being wiser, stronger, more clear in who you are and who you are not, and then doing something about it. If you are protecting your loved ones or helping, reaching out to help others, finding resources for other people, or being a referral and sending them my way, it's a true transformation of that stigma, of feeling ashamed or embarrassed behind what you went through. It's also this personal strength, a bigger, better appreciation for life. Sometimes your relationships are improved because you value it more, and it's just a deeper connection within yourself. And I will always go back to that, being wiser from that situation.
Again,
That's what it looks like in everyday life.
it does. It seriously does. And you can kind of use this same, sentence in any in any situation, right? I presently struggle with, and then I got good at, right? And so and I remember somebody telling me, because I did, I went through alcohol recovery, nothing easy about it, right? And it's the same thing. I had to make a choice, right? Um, but I remember like, well, people say, well, I've been in this situation or for 10 years, or I've dealt with it. And the question is, do you want another 10 years of this? Right. And that's where, and if people are thinking that way, that's a good, healthy sign. That's a first step. And then the second step would be to reach out to Agape or, confronting DV. And that's simple. What else? What next? Don't worry about it. You'll figure that out. When you take your first step, then you figure out how to take the second one, right? And so go ahead.
That's right. And I was just gonna say, I would love the opportunity to speak fairly quickly about more to that everyday thing, right? Because when you mentioned I started here, but now I'm here, we're talking about, I exactly that, right? We're missing that journey in between. And there are different steps that you can take on a daily intentional basis, because when you're living in intention, you have more clarity. And when you have that clarity, you have more purpose. And with that purpose, you are taking those steps, and every action that you're taking to maintain that alignment within yourself. And there's a few things that I really hone in on as it relates to influence and courage, right? So the influence, who is watching me? Who do I influence? Who's going to be impacted by my attitude, my responses, my approaches? Who? And if it's obviously my kids, that's the most important. Those are the most important people to me. So I'm going to make sure that, what, I am leading by example and allowing them to see how to respond and cope with certain triggers, because there's definitely triggers from devastation, and how to treat people while you're in that. And it's very important to communicate with whomever it is that you are influencing based on the circumstances, because obviously if they know what's going on and their eyes are peeled and their ears are wide open, it's important to talk about it. Like, hey, that this happened. This is why I'm doing this. This is how I feel it's the best approach or the right approach. So then you kind of give those like life skills to the kids at an early age or stage, if they're teenage or whatever, because as they're going through their personal life and their own, triggers and devastations, they're going to remember that. It's not going to be immediate, of course, but the light will go off. You know how you read something or you hear something and you have a conversation with somebody else and you're like, oh my gosh, I just heard this from so and so. The light will go off, and that I promise that. I see it now. Like I said, my kids are over 20 and I see it. So I can share that it really is true. The other thing is the commitment, right? The commitment that you have. When you have a commitment to do better, be better, then you are taking action on that. You're not just talking about it, you're being about it. And that is so important, because words are all you have. And if you're not a person of your words, then what value are you bringing? What is it worth? What are your words worth? So, there is a journal for a morning sign, a morning mindset, right? One thing that you can get excited about today. And you can put this on your calendar so that, if you are feeling those those inner critical thoughts or voices coming into your head, you go to your calendar and you just have it on there every single day. And you're like, you know what? Yes, I do have something to be excited about. This is who I am influencing. This is my purpose. And this is how I am taking action. And just that simple reminder that you can just go to at any time of the day, or if you set an alarm for yourself, this is what's called positive triggers. You hear that alarm go off, bing, bing. You're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I have something to be excited about today. It sounds awkward, but when you're going through that state of devastation, it really is helpful and it expedites the journey, period.
Yeah. See, again, I wanted people to know, and you demonstrated that this is well thought out. This organization is intentional, and it wants to grow so it can scale up and help more people. Because you're seeing an influx of people that are. It's not that more people are dealing with DV. It's that now they're more ready to take action because now the support is spreading. They know where to go, and that takes money. I don't run a business with $0, and neither does your organization. So I want to skip ahead because we all know what it is in part. You told us a lot, but there's also more to the story. So you have a game night. Uh, I don't live anywhere near you. I'm still going to donate and support it, right? Because I just want to support the cause and the
Thank
mission and
you.
the. And I'm going to go ahead and break it and do this now, and then we'll cap up with some other discussion. But I want to make sure folks get this. They get late. People have kids. They're cooking dinner. So a couple things. You just don't do the nonprofit side, right? So I may get this wrong, but you've connected CDV's mission to California's Workplace Violent Prevention Plan, right? So tell us about that, because if that's about creating sustainability for nonprofit safety business, tell us about that, because you're doing two things at once. You're helping survivors that need it the most, but there's also something in play now from California. Explain this to us.
Oh my gosh, this is where I'm going to get super excited. Okay, okay, okay. So,
We're
uh,
ready.
yes, first and foremost, as most people know, that, with Trump's decisions to eliminate a lot of government funding, so many nonprofits are suffering, to include small organizations. And, you know, it is a very harsh climate right now for folks to stay operating. And with that being said, we are navigating a way to bridge gaps across the board, and I'll start there first. Okay. So with SB 553, it's a workplace violence prevention plan. SB stands for Senate bill. This is a legislative law and a complete mandate. Not all industries are mandated to have this in place. If you are in the health industry or if you are in law enforcement, then you are excluded from this mandate. But if you're open to the public, have at least 10 people on payroll, and they're in the office, you need to have this plan in place. So that's almost every organization in my book, right? And the workplace violence prevention plan is not just a plan. You need to have actual training and a response plan in place, not just a policy that's sitting around somewhere, okay? And it also includes the prevention of domestic violence spillover. When I read the bill, and by the way, Cal OSHA is the enforcement agency on this. And when the bill first came out in 2024 and I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my life story that is put into a requirement. And when I say life story, I'm not just talking about my personal life, I'm also talking about my professional life.
Right.
I'm a compliance officer. Okay, so running programs and making sure I know how to be audit ready and making sure that the documents are in place. If it's a pop up instead of a planned audit, I know how to do that. Easy day. As it relates to legislation, I've been a volunteer for Cal legislation for over 10 years, specifically focusing on public safety and privacy. So that was like another, shot in the net, on top of understanding human behaviors and preventing and responding and recovering from domestic violence. On top of that, am a former mayoral appointee who sat on the Citizens Review Board. I got hands-on training as if I was an active officer on duty working directly with internal affairs, and got the training that helps me today to still stay abreast of industry standards, and changes. So I'm talking on a federal, state, local level here. So I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it. This was a part of our vision statement before this actually came into play. When I saw that the bill went into effect, I was like, I have to change my vision statement.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. So to your point, now this is a way that I'm finding this is how I'm finding a way to sustain our nonprofit. If we're offering these professional services, I don't have to worry about filling out these applications for grants that are not going to come our way. I don't
Right.
have to knock on doors and ask for sponsorships from companies because I've already done that. And the response is we already have our designated organizations that we're supporting, and or we've received more than ever before, and we just can't meet all of the requests. So I keep hitting this brick wall over and over and over. And I say, you know what? Let's provide these services. And that's how we're going to get it done. So that's exactly what we're doing. And I just want to, maybe give a statement that's going to raise some eyebrows here. Most companies have a EAP program, which is employee assistant program, EAP, employee assistant program. These are on top of your, medical, dental, vision benefits. This is for if you have, gambling addictions, porn addictions, alcohol, abuse problems. Like, they have these benefits for you as an employee. I have never, anywhere I've ever worked, ever seen anything for victims of domestic violence who are showing up at work. And let me tell you right now, work is the safest place for people who are dealing with violence at home. That's it. So that prevention of the domestic violence spillover is so critical. That's definitely going to happen before a slip and a fall. And having the resource available to help people is so critical as well. So I'm just seeing this full circle and hopefully, preventing the cycle of return once individuals take that step forward in seeking the resources and the help that they need and want to get out of that situation.
Yeah. No. Again, you're not just saying, oh, give us money. And there's nothing wrong with donations, but you're out there trying to be proactive and tap into things and, become a benefit, like an employee benefit. And this is really awesome to me because they need it. And you're right. It was Kevin Smith and Kindness Worldwide. We had a show, a few months ago, also, a movement and nonprofit we support in the Hounds. And they had brought it up. They're like, wow, a lot of people in DV, right, going through this kind of thing, they don't leave because what's going to happen to their pets too, right? That's one of their only support sources. They want to take care of it. And they came up with solutions to help them through that. So what I'm getting at is, wow, that you guys are creating solutions from the ground up. Right? We waited long enough for decades for someone else to do it. Right? So whether it's, companies, whatever. But now people like me and you are just like, nah, we're done. We're going to do something. And what's remarkable is that folks who support it do have the means, right? We're going to go do the work on the front end. And that's why we do these shows. So people can say, hey, there's something out there that's well thought out, very intentional, and they need our support. And if we give them the resources, if we give them time and money, they could do more. That's all this is, right? And so thank you for the work you do. And I wanted to make sure we put that out there. And so real quick, before we jump into some other good discussion, I want to pull it back up on the screen. You have game night. Tell us about that. Tell us for the locals and also the folks who just want to help pitch and donate like me that, tell us all about it. Don't be shy. Not that you ever are.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, we are having a game night. It's on October 5th. It's a networking event and it's about having fun for a good cause. People are bringing Uno cards, dominoes, chessboards, hopscotch. You name it. We're going to have an array of different games, appetizers, and food will be available at no cost. That comes with the ticket. Also, 2 drink tickets come with the purchase of the ticket. It's just going to be an awesome evening. We're going to also be spotlighting our sponsors, both both on the website, on podcasts, on our social media, and whoever is there physically, they will have an interview just for themselves to talk about, who they are, what their business is, and why they decided to sponsor us. And that is, our way to kind of balance what we're doing as it relates to raising funds. We're trying to have community events to bring awareness and share who we are, what we're doing. And we're also providing those services as you mentioned before. We actually just moved. We relocated a family just, I would say, about a month ago. She had 5 kids, triplets. She had triplets and 2 other teenagers. And, believe it or not, we had such a beautiful support that I cannot even explain how it happened. It's just when you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, people come together, companies come together. And that's what we're all about. We're about establishing a multi-agency collaboration so that we can support survivors full spectrum. And this is how we're doing it. This is exactly how we're doing it. And every event that we have is, to have fun and enjoy yourself while you're doing something that is to help somebody else.
Absolutely. And so anyway, where can folks go if they want to pitch in, show up, support, or just donate, so other people can move the movement? What is it?
Yes, thank you. It's right there. You have it up right there. Just click on that. Just click on that right there in the middle. Click on the jacket. Click on whatever you want right there.
I'm
Are you on the
clicking.
home page?
No, no. Oh, right here. Boom.
Yep. So right at the top. Right at the top. See it? Yep. Just click on that. Anywhere on the banner. Okay, now scroll down.
Oh, it's up here. That's where that.
No,
There.
that if you want to make a donation, you can. But if you scroll down, yep,
Yeah,
there
that's
you
what I
go.
want them to do. If somebody's sitting here
Oh,
going,
okay.
no, that's look, I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm not going to tell everybody they should, but once I go, yeah, that's something I get behind. Now the question is, where do I put the money? So you can
That's
go
so
there, but
funny.
where else can they go if they want to be a part of, or they're local and they want to be a part of and join in the games and the fun? Where was that at? Right there.
Yep, you were just right there. Exactly. Scroll
That's it.
down.
Buy
There you go.
tickets.
So buy your tickets and keep scrolling down. There you go. There's single admission prices, and then there's also very affordable sponsorship levels. I mean, look, the first one is starting at what? What does that say? I can't see. 200.
The silver 300.
There you go. So, we have 3 different levels, and it's pretty affordable for organizations that are still, that want to help support or that are still looking for a tax write-off. Here we go. Easy day. And also, if you close that out and scroll down, you'll see that we have some sponsors already, which is pretty awesome. And this is how we put your logo on the website, and we definitely put you in the newsletter that we send out. We'll talk about it on our podcast. We definitely try to really give that support back that you're giving to us, to the families that we serve.
Oh, I want to give a shout out to Baz Porter, or Baz. If you're me, you can say Baz. He lets it go. Uh, but yeah, no, LinkedIn and StreamYard, they're having some issues. So I want to make sure folks do. He was there, Yolanda and Hank as well. And who knows who else I'm missing on this. Can't put the comments up, but we appreciate you. And thank you for the support. So yeah, and this is a business show, right? Business community ecosystem. So we will be putting this out here for folks. Best thing you guys can do out there is spread the word, right? Repost on LinkedIn, go out there and shoot an email, let someone know. And again, I don't know where this comes from. I used to think, well, I don't want to bother people. Listen, if I get something in the mail and I don't like it, I throw it in the garbage. But if I do like it, I'm glad I got it, so I can do something about it. Same thing, right? So, but again, other people have a tie to this. I remember it was really telling to me working with Shonda. She's coming on the show, right? Flores Foundation, right? One of 3 nonprofits that we support. And I remember someone, oh, I just squirreled. I just lost my thought. Um,
That's
oh,
okay.
wow.
I'll help you out. There's logos missing on that page you just were showing. We have 3 sponsors and we're
Oh, do
looking
you?
for more.
All right. Neat. Well, hit me up. I think we could do it. And what was the thing I was gonna say? Oh, it's embarrassing. It's just
About
loud.
Shonda and supporting the nonprofits.
Yeah, I forgot. It just went. Woo. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. I introduced her to somebody that I met, and I just mentioned our event, right, and what it's about, and mental health, and the things going with it. And this person just dived in, and I'm like, wow. And they wanted to know more. I was just telling them I was late. I didn't, I wasn't promoting it. I wasn't trying to get sponsor money or nothing. And this guy, he was highly connected for 30 years in the sports arena, but he had a tie to this issue. And you never, that's what I mean, stop being shy about it. If you mention it, nothing happens, it's okay. But you never know. For a million years, I would never have bet that this guy was like, that's my thing. And well, then it was an Olympic venue, so that makes sense because he's in sports, right? At the so that's what I mean. Stop being shy. If you're like me and you're like, oh, just share things of value, share things from passion. And what gets me about you is that the courage it takes and the dedication to really go through something that you probably want to avoid. And I think that's why I like to back this, because it can't be easy, but you do it because you have a purpose now, and your purpose is to help other people and their kids and the loved ones and everything surrounding that. It's a very deep issue. So kudos to you. I really do see that. I think a lot of folks know that and see that. And we're honored and we're excited that you're doing something positive for this. And it's not about you. All right. That's why I'm doing all this talk, because you're so modest. You're not about that. But I'm going to take the reins and say, look, you know, it's okay. Right. I'm happy to donate. I'm happy to support. And I'm happy to promote it because I believe in you and what you're doing. And remember, I had a tie to that as a kid, and no kids should have to deal with that. They really shouldn't. If somebody's going to take the courage, because I heard it before. Well, why don't they just leave? It's not that simple. It is absolutely not that simple.
And that's the worst thing to ask. Fear in finance is typically, why people don't leave. I mean, come on now, and if we knew before our emotions got involved that someone was an abuser, obviously we would not have even invested our feelings into that, or our time into that individual. It's not like, when you meet somebody or you go on a date that they're just like exposing who they are and what they're about. I
Right.
mean, come on, it's all about love bombing and sweet talking. And that's what I was saying earlier as it relates to our emotions being, blindfolds and really blinding us from being able to think logically and see things for what they are, because sometimes our desires are overriding reality,
Right.
and it takes a while before you reach that threshold of like no more. And that's when it's time to take that first step.
Well, and I also really like it. We never really talked about it, but I like the way you frame this. It's not victim. It's you survived a traumatic experience, but you're overcoming it. And I'm not even concerned about the whole before argument. What's important to me personally is that once you are aware of it, once you're ready to take steps, now you have guidance, support, and what you need to make it as clean as possible, right? It's not going to be easy, but at least you're not alone. At least you have a path. At least you have a roadmap. And also on that note, it's like I had a financial client not too long ago, right? It was a victim of a scam, and they were so embarrassed and all of the same kind of stuff, right? Oh, how could? And I said, well, listen, they still exist because apparently they're good at what they do, right? So but once you realize, once you get educated, once it happens, don't do it again. Learn, get educated, right?
That's
Strengthen your
right.
mind, right?
That's that PTG, that post-traumatic growth from that devastation, right? And
Exactly.
And Mike, I just wanna expand a little bit on what you were saying, because you're absolutely correct. You are a victim when you don't know better. Once you realize that it wasn't your fault and you didn't know better, you were victimized. Okay. And then once you realize you were victimized, no longer a victim, that's where that survivor and that PTG starts to naturally take its place.
Right. I'm not even here to debate all. I just said, look, you're here now. Let's go. And I love that because you're on the phone and people are like, hey, it's got to be a very hard call to make. Uh, but making that call, that's what's important. Now they have a shot. Now they have a chance. Now they can go forward. And I don't know, but a lot of the folks that I love to promote, work with, and in the hounds, went through a lot of stuff. And now what do? Like, there you go. Shameless plug. Troy Carnes, no silver bullets, right? Choosing not to be in shame and going out there and talking to people about being a human being, because a lot of us deal with it. And that's what you're saying. Stop focusing on all the stuff, right? Go out there and make it happen, right? Live fully. Well, I've wasted 50 years. You want to waste the other 40? Get out there and make it happen.
Right. That's that cup. Is it half full or half empty? How do you want to see it?
Right. But in my life, people say, well, you do it yourself. I did myself. I did the work myself, but I had support. You know, that's very key. Well, I'll do it myself. No man or woman's an island. And that's very important. We nobody can do it for us, but we have to start with it. And by the way, I have to give a shout out before we close. The one and only Beverly Neal Clinton of Healing for Wounds. You introduced us. So we're going to talk about other people that they could do easier stuff. I'm just like the stuff you all do, you don't have to do, but you're so passionate about making an impact for people that just keep struggling through stuff. And so that's the same thing here, right? The healthcare system, yeah, it's got some work to do, to say the least. But there's people out there and companies that are coming out that are absolutely saying, we'll do something about it. Are we perfect? No, but we are going to do something about it. And when I saw the hounds, doctors and PhDs go, like, oh, that's great. I thought, wow, that's amazing. And thank you for the introduction. So there's so much out there that people just don't know about. So when the physicians get paid, the hospitals get the money that's out there, then the patient care is better. It's all win, win, win. And so thank you, Beverly, for going out there and making solutions available. They got a lot more than just the wound care, even though that is a huge need. There is so much here. So if you're in the medical community, if you're in healthcare, hey, go to her LinkedIn page, Beverly Neal Clinton, or you can just go for healingforwounds.com, scan the QR code. They're doing amazing things.
Yeah, and she's so great to talk to and to just collaborate with. Really, we
She is.
talk often.
Oh, yeah, tremendous person. And then speaking of that, we got to give a shout out to one of the newer hounds. He's been around for a little bit. He also came from Tanya. Took him a good while until he engaged. So we practice what we preach. We're patient. If the right people, it's got to be the right timing. But boy, when he joined the hounds, I went nuts. Right on the group call. Just couldn't handle it. But he lived a dream life, right? Hollywood stuntman. A lot of the films we saw, Bond and all this. And he just wasn't happy. He said, I want to be happy. I want to go out there, help other people kind of going through this transitional pivot in life and dealing with the burdens and all of this. And I want to help them because this man's lived it. It's just a miraculous story. He's an amazing man. And we're honored to be able to share him and have him in the hounds. So if anybody out there is trying to figure it all out, a lot of us in our 40s and 50s, we're really going through a lot of changes internally and externally. Right? Maybe it's divorce. Maybe it's a layoff. We don't want to go back to a job, right? You don't know where to go. Curtis has helped hounds. I've seen him help people and hounds, and more than happy to put this guy out there just like you, so he can help more folks. That's all there is to it. So thank you, Curtis. And he's from the UK, so his accent, everybody loves it. Yeah. I wish I had a UK accent. I got this one, but. And last but not least, Dr. Jeffrey. Guys, we had the CEO of Viarda One on the Mike King radio show yesterday. And the first question I asked him was, come on now, be honest. Did anyone believe y'all was going to make it? And he basically said no, like probably not even his mom. He was like, no, nobody thought it. And to your point, Agape, he spent 2004 to 2019 of getting told no and going, yes, I thought I was doing good in the rejection pool. This guy takes the cake. He's gold medalist in rejection to keep going. And, but what happened 2019, it started to stick. He's been 6 years. This company went from, oh, that'll never work to written about in Forbes and also accredited by Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. So Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, he's been a hound. I've had the privilege and honor to work with him and do lots of things. And look what happened. Now we get this kind of movement going. So shameless plug to us at the Hounds of Business, folks. Don't do it alone, right? You have an impact, support. You want to make something happen in life. You want to pay it forward. and you want to build a business, right? So you can do that. You can have the time, money, and freedom to help people, but don't do it alone. Plug in the winners like this. And I love it. I'll be honest. I don't talk about this much, but people say, how did you get involved with that? And you want to know the God's honest truth? I was here before they were popular, famous, and making it. I even heard Alex Harmozy say something on a YouTube. He says, yeah, when you actually win, nobody believes it. You don't believe it. Other people don't. Even though they believed in you, they're still shocked. And I think that's the case, that we believed in each other way before anyone else did, and now they do. So, yeah, you might have to walk around for a long time, believing in yourself and feeling stupid about it because no one else tends to. But that's why it's such an honor to bring people like you, bring Wakas, bring these people that undeniably they were born from dirt, disadvantaged, or they just didn't have any special advantage. They didn't have a handout or a hand up, and they did it anyway. So that's really where I want to end the show. I want to kind of pick your brain and really get to the point of, first of all, folks watching, what's one way they can get involved? We're going to say it again, all right, with CDV, your organization right now.
What can they do?
Yeah, what can they do? Obviously, they could donate, they can show up to the thing, but is it reposting? Like, what's a good, easy way
Oh
to
my
take
God.
no time, money?
Yes. So I guess we're gonna end it the way we started it. There's a lot that confronting domestic violence has to offer. Everyone knows someone, if it's not you yourself. What we need and what we struggle with is visibility. I'm here, we're here, but the visibility component of that is our biggest challenge, because like I shared in the beginning, I've been off social media all my life, so I don't have a following, I don't have a network. And for those of you that do have a following and do have a network, please follow us, because our numbers are low. And every time I'm trying to fill out, not trying, when I am filling out applications for mentorships or pro bono, services, they ask, how many followers do you have on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other things. We're only on those three platforms:
Right.
LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And when I go in there and look at the numbers, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I have to be honest and give these answers to the questions. And I'm like, man, what can I do to really help push our visibility? Because again, without a budget, without grants and funding coming in, we cannot afford professional marketing companies. We can't afford public relations individuals. We can't afford, to be in these magazines or these, places that people pay big bucks for to get in front of folks. And we're not just helping, real-time survivors anymore. Now we're offering these professional services that still reaches survivors and victims showing up to work, that keeps companies compliant with regulatory regulations, that prevents citations from not being compliant. I mean, like, we are definitely spreading our wings so we can bridge these gaps and be sustainable and keep our operations going, because we do get calls every single day. So that's how you can get involved. Follow us. Please repost what we're doing and how we're doing it. Please, if you know any organization in California that needs to meet these mandates, please send them our way. If you yourself want to be an ambassador, a volunteer, if you want to sponsor us to help us with our membership at Chamber of Commerce so we can get in front of these companies that need our services, that is definitely a way that we can truly benefit and expand our wings further to get in front of the folks that we need to get in front of.
Absolutely. So we'll help with that. You may not have a big following, but we do, right? Together combined. So we will help spread the message, my friend. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. And for really being the example, for going out there and doing this stuff. I'm more than happy to support it because someone has to do it. I got enough stuff to do in a different way, but I am more than happy to support you. And so are the hounds, and so are the folks watching and the folks who will see this. Thank you. All right, in advance, and thank you for really being a part of the solution here. So, last thing, real quick, close us out with this. when do you listen? When do you when you think about the next 5 years? What's your vision for CDV and for the movement?
Oh my gosh. In the next 5 years, at the 5 year mark or before,
Right.
I would love to be able to have our own moving company nationwide, right? So if we can partner with someone like Van Lines and say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and we help people across the nation when they have these needs to be relocated for safety, can we count on you but have our name on that moving truck? So being a subsidiary of a nationwide moving company would be so beautiful. I do vision that. It feels great because I just know that our outreach will be way out there.
Let's talk about it because my brain started twirling, and that's usually a good thing. All right, so let's chat about that because yeah, you got my interest. So thank you, seriously, thank you for all you do. Thank you for being a part of the solution and helping people because I'm a human too. I don't like seeing people suffer and struggle. I don't care how it started. I don't care about that. What I care about is when somebody says yes, I'm ready to do something. They got the support and the things they need to get it done. That's it. Whether it's business, whether it's life, and I know you feel the same. So thank you so much for being you, for doing this, and we know it's going to be a great event, and we're dedicated to helping it being all it could be. So thank you, thank you. All right, that's it. Folks, join us next week, same time, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We're going to have Shonda Spates, right? Flourish Foundation. This is the month that really is important. This is a celebration of mental health and the solutions to those struggling with that, right? Self-harm and things like that. We have real concrete solutions. I am honored and proud to be the COO of that organization as well. And we're going to give it to you. Plus, again, just like Agape, just in true Hounds fashion, all that'll never work until it does, right? And so, again, not bragging, not being pompous, but we're just making sure that if there's so many people out there, just like you, Agape, that they could be a very impactful force, but they just don't have the resources or support or belief yet. And that's truly what the Heart of the Hounds is all about, right? Getting that self-worth, that self-love, and realizing you're not messed up. You just got to learn some stuff, right? You just got to grow, evolve. There's nothing wrong with you. I was told, oh, you'll never make it. Oops. I'm glad. I hope you didn't bet too much money, right? Because you lost. So we're
That's
betting.
right.
We're betting for you. That's what it is. Putting our money where our mouth is. We're putting our time and attention into things that we want to see accomplished. So thank you for being that, folks. Thank you for tuning in with the tech issues and everything else involved. That's what happens when you do a live show. But thank you for spending your time with us and support. You guys make this amazing. So we have a lot going on around the corner. October 1st, be looking at my LinkedIn, Redneck One, Mike Asherbrenner. Phil the Connector, right? So the Hounds of Business is teamed up with several high-level communities. Phil the Connectors community is not is one power partner of ours. And folks, we're not doing webinars and infomercials. We're going to sit down and show you how you can grow your business. I don't care if it's a hot dog stand or if you're already making $5 million and you want to pivot and grow more. Test me, all right? And test him. We're going to make sure that folks that want to do things like you're doing, Agape, that they know that, hey, this is for me. And if it's not for you, good. Don't do it. If you test out our stuff and it don't work, go do something else. Right? That's the point. We want to educate people. So I want you all to spread the word, be looking for this, because I cannot wait to show a lot of people like us how they can go out there and make this happen. This dream is not a hallucination. It is absolutely going to be a reality. You just have to learn some stuff just like I did. So, folks, have a good night. Appreciate you all and have a great, great time. We'll see you back next time. Princess Wave time. Be good. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.